Hey, this is Scott Smith from COBRA Firing Systems.
Hi, and this is Will Harvey from Finale Fireworks.
Great, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. So today we're going to be talking about essentially step scripting, but using that in conjunction with the tracks feature within Finale. So what does that mean? What applications would we use this for? So how this works, and I'll use an example of, say, a stage concert performance, right? So you have your performer. They're going to be playing a series of songs in a predefined order. And throughout that performance, we have defined effects, pyro effects that we want to execute at specific points. So for example, we may want to do a flame chase, or perhaps there's a wall of gerbs that we're going to be firing. And so we have a whole series of these different effects. We're going to be firing them in a different time. And what we want the system to do is allow us to hit the step button. It'll fire that effect, whatever that sequence is, right? And then when it's complete, it's going to pause itself. And when we're at that next point within the performance, we're going to hit the step button again. So essentially what we're doing is just pressing that step button every time we get to one of those pyro effects until the performance is complete. And so, Will, why don't you go ahead and let's walk through how to do this within Finale.
Great, that makes sense. We'll create two tracks here of two sequences. So I just inserted effects into 9 positions here. I'll put them into a sequence from left to right. And we'll say this is the first kind of flourish or mini script that is going to take place in the concert. And then I'm going to copy and paste to make a second flourish. And I'm going to reverse the order of this one just to make it different. Okay, so we've got the first sequence and the second sequence. Now, to separate them in the script so that there's sort of a pause between them waiting for you to press the step button on the COBRA controller, we'll assign these to be separate tracks in Finale, and we'll do them in sequential order. So the first one will make track 1, and the second will make track 2. To do that, I need to unhide the track column, which is hidden by default. So I go to the upper right-hand corner to the blue gear menu, unhide the track column. Now I've got this track column where I can put in the track number that's going to separate the first sequence from the second sequence. So I put in track number 1 for the first sequence, and then I'll put in track number 2 for the second sequence. Okay, we've got them split off from each other now by the track. And the next step is I need to set the channel and queue numbers on COBRA, which we call the firing system addresses. And in Finale, they're referred to as the rail and pin. So same thing, just different name, rail, pin, channel, queue. Okay, go to address show, select COBRA, and we've got a few different options here. Scott, why don't you explain what the options are and which one to pick for a concert situation where you're designing tracks that go in sequential order but have a pause in between them?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you know what firmware version that you're running. So in our case, we're going to choose 5.0, but you see we do have different firmware versions listed here. And the option that we're going to want to choose here is called step script by tracks. Okay, so essentially we're creating a step script. It's going to be using the tracks feature within Finale. So why don't you go ahead and select that, Will, and actually choose. I think you chose the wrong one.
Did I? I'll check again.
Give it another shot.
Address show. Oh, I did. A step scripts by track.
There you go. That's one. Fourth one down.
Okay, it assigned 9 modules for 9 positions. That makes sense. 18 pins, 18 queues. That makes sense too. The rail and pin columns are filled out. All right, I think we're ready to export our script. File, export firing system script. And now I think I need to go to the USB drive. So maybe you can pick up here, Scott, and tell them what to, how to save the file so that it can be read in by on the COBRA controller.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you showed in a different video, you're going to want to save this directly to your thumb drive. So once you go ahead, and Will has already navigated to his thumb drive, type in the word COBRA within the file name. And it's important to know that you will always want to call this COBRA, just because COBRA is looking for that specific file name. It is case insensitive, so you can use capital letters if you need to. And let's go ahead and save that file. Excellent. So once we save this file, we're going to place the thumb drive into the R2, load it into the controller. But for this demonstration, Will, why don't we just go ahead and open up this file? Let's take a quick look at it. So normally you wouldn't go into the file, but for this, just to show everyone how this is set up, you'll notice that similar to other scripts, we're going to have our trigger channel and trigger button, which is in row 2. And as always, Finale will default to channel 0 Q1 to start our script. And you notice once you start the script, that's going to fire the first sequence of events. You'll see here from channel 0 to 8 with a 0.1 second delay in between. So that's kind of our first sequence, right, within our concert. And at this point, the performer's, going to be performing, and we're just essentially waiting for that next time in which we're going to fire the next effect. So we're going to have our finger on the step button, and once we're at that point, boom, we hit the step button, and that's going to go ahead and fire our second sequence. So this is obviously a fairly simple script. You're going to probably have more step sequences within the script, but for this demonstration, we want to keep it simple so you can understand how it works.
Perfect. That makes sense for me.
Anything else you want to add to that, Will?
That makes nothing to add. That makes sense.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully it was informative, and take care.